Good morning, everybody. Hey now! Jay. February the 16th, 2020. To keep these videos coming live every day at 6:45 a.m. and at 6:53 a.m. on the Gold Standard Radio Network. And we're looking at what's going on the day where the market's closed. It's an extended weekend as it's a holiday weekend, as we just mentioned. You can see the AMP is slightly up on the day, but extremely down on the last year. Same thing with DGB. Bitcoin attempted to rally over the weekend, but had a afternoon and evening dump where it gave back most of those gains as we were over $70,000 a little earlier in the weekend. Same thing with XRP. It's back down to $1.48. It was sitting over $1.50 after it had its little run yesterday. But we've had some consolidation across the sphere today. And if we take a look at the XRP price to get it started on a drive time morning radio show here on the Gold Standard Radio Network, we can see clearly we had that nice run up yesterday, but we're going to have to go into the hour time frame as we have some frost here in Southern Ontario this morning on my way to work. Yep, going to work again. We have to work every day to pay the bills, but we still get these crypto videos along with the other things and businesses that we do. You can see we're still within these major zones. You have your major underneath support at 89 cents, and now your major overhead resistance where the 50-day moving average is at $1.79, and that horizontal green line from left to right across the top of your screen there in blue, which is the 200-day and the weekly time frame at 6:54 a.m. It's $1.85. That's your two major upper resistances. And we pumped up into this regional local consolidation zone where we were on our way down and we consolidated from around the 31st of January all the way through the 4th of February before we had that big local capitulation to the downside, right? And then we bounced back up, you see? And then we consolidated along that 200-day and the weekly, and we had that pump. But now what we're watching today, and especially as the market opens this evening after the long holiday weekend, do we hold this 200-day at $1.41? Because if you do, you can try to make a run back up here at these upper resistances. You can see where the 50-day is, and the daily there in red, little highlight, and then the 200-day and the weekly sitting there in blue from left to right. But if you don't, and you break down below this, you will at first come to $1.11, $1.12, that wick low. Then you will ultimately come down to this major underneath support at 89 cents. So in the XRP short-term technical analysis that we can give you at the gold standard is that 200-day and the weekly is your critical level that you need to be paying attention to. The same thing with the Ethereum, with the XLM price. The major zone that we bounced off of is that 14.5 cents. And that's an area ever since we marked the gold standard. Remember, the gold standard. That's right, the gold standard. Marked this for you last December, 2 Decembers ago. December of 24, when we had that euphoric pump after the Donald Trump rally. I smell a skunk, and it's not my weed. I haven't smelled that since I've been here in Southern Ontario. But because it's been winter. And I don't see many of them running around Oakville. But we told you, after we hit that 63-cent blow off top, the whole way up, we were marking these levels on the way down. The moving averages, the weekly time frame moving averages, the monthly time frame, and then these major underneath levels of resistance that we had for a couple of years before this pump. And we actually came back down and hit that. Now the critical thing here in the price of XLM on this way down now, we can see we got rejected almost exactly off that upper resistance at 18 3/4 cents. Now we're at the mid ground, and we're either A, going to come all the way back down to the 14 cents, trade along it, fail to hold it, and come down to the 12 cents. Or B, we're going to get some support here, and we're going to pump back up towards that 18 cents and try to take that out here in the short to medium term in the XLM price, right? And that's what I think is going on here. And those are the key critical levels that you, the retail trader, needs to watch, that the market manipulators will try to tug on you to get you to believe that it's going one way or another when in fact it's going the opposite way. Same thing with the Ethereum price in the hour time frame. If we zoom out a little bit, we got your major upper resistance up there at $2 or $2,600 even. That's the green horizontal line from left to right. Then you got the major short-term support where you bounced off of back there on the 6th and 7th of February, on top of the light blue trading box that starts at $1,800. Because if you slip below that, you're coming all the way down to the bottom part of that zone at $1,824, right? And that's been a long-standing call since this was at $5,000 if you got rejected, and you did, right? And you've been coming all the way down now. You're 50% down from the all-time high, right? You heard that correctly, 50% down from the all-time high. And just to short them like that, right? Very quickly, that's how these prices and these coins can come down. That's why you take your profit when you've hit the home run, right? And then if we look at the Bitcoin price, the same thing. We're still teetering the same as we were going into the holiday weekend, exactly now on the 200-day moving average in the weekly time frame. And you can see how quickly we knifed down to 60,000 even on the wick before we hit liquidity and bounced up. 3 years later, 4 years later, you're still interrupting my channel. And then we came back up to the major support level at the 200-day moving average. If we can't hold that and we dip below it, you will, as fast as you knife down through that 200-day, is as fast as you'll shoot down to this 51,285.05. So you got to be very cautious on any kind of going in heavily long, unless you're just dollar cost averaging and accumulating and averaging into your position. You could be very, very, even though you're down better than 50% from its all-time high at its low at 60,000, about 52% down, you could still have another 20% down from the all-time high, getting into the 75% to close to 80% from that 128,000, 127,000 all-time high, which could bring you closer to 30,000 than where you're at right now. So very cautious, be very careful, and don't misread the market structure and the part. I can't stress this enough. The part. That's right. You heard right. The part of the market cycle, the cycle of the market that you're currently in. Don't misdiagnose that, because that can lead to local slaughter, right? And the inability later on to take advantage of the capitulation that I believe. I am not a financial advisor, nor do I play one on this live radio show at the Gold Standard Radio Network. These are only my personal opinions on the market. Correct? See? Yes. My own opinions. Market opinions. Buy opinions. Market, buy, sell. My opinions on all of that, right? But there could be upside if you can hold that, like we've been talking about, at 7 a.m. as we pull in on time to work once again. Yes, the gold standard pulls in the work on time. I'm Robert Kennedy, and we appreciate you joining the Gold Standard Radio Network. Carcinogens are bad. Food dyes and artificial coloring. Stay away. Join the Gold Standard on February the 17th, 2027. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Robert Kennedy, the Health Director of the United States, for joining us there as we arrive in and we conclude another live radio broadcast from the Gold Standard Radio Network here with a line of semis, and some of them are probably mine. And once again, we thank you for joining the broadcast on February the 16th, 2026, at the Gold Standard Live Radio Network. We'll be here for another live broadcast on February the 17th, 2026, 6:45 a.m. at the Gold Standard Radio Network. We are once again signing off and concluding this broadcast, and we appreciate from the bottom of our hearts each and every one of the beautiful, lovely, glowing subscribers and jabroni killers to help support and grow this page. Signing off. Jay.